Distinguished school for its iPad Mini initiative, one of the most extensive tablet-based learning efforts in the country. Since the launch of Lynn 2020, capital raised on university endowed project has exceeded $60 million. These projects have included a new performing arts center, which served as the site of the third and final 2012 presidential debate. The Purple Tennis Complex, Bobby Campbell Stadium, the International Business Center, the Snyder Sanctuary, and a permanent campus memorial to the 4 students and 2 faculty members that were lost in the 2010 Haiti earthquake. Those were the students that came from Lynn University. Kevin earned his bachelor's in English from Colgate University and his master's in liberal arts at St. John's College. He received his doctorate in higher education leadership and policy from Peabody College of Vanderbilt University. Kevin is currently serving as on the Greater Boca Raton Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, Advisory Panel, Literary Correlation of Palm Beach County, Gulfstream School Board of Trustees, and the Millennium Campus Network Board of Directors. Please welcome Kevin Watts.
I'm going to sit right here. Good morning, everyone. I feel very high-tech with this apparatus on my head, so please bear with me. It's a real pleasure to be here with you this morning. I've never been called an SOB this early in the morning. So been called much worse, actually, but thank you kindly for that. For those of you unfamiliar with Lynn University, we're an independent co-educational institution in Boca Raton, and we offer bachelor's, master's, and doctoral programs. And we're undergoing something that we call an accelerated evolution. It's an incredibly exciting time, and what I wanted to do today was tell you a little bit about what sets us apart and maybe let you under the hood a little bit on some of the stories actually that have taken place in the last couple of years and what they mean. We've got a number of folks here at Lynn who are with us, who have been with us for some time. We've got a great leadership team. And I think through our innovative curriculum, student-centered use of technology, and campus design, we really are creating a whole new sense of value. We've had a couple of moments that have put us in the spotlight. We had the privilege, as you heard, of hosting the third and final 2012 presidential debate, which brought the spotlight here to Palm Beach County. And Gregory Malfitano, who's here as our Senior Vice President, Greg, wave your hand, has been here with the university for 43 years. He was the co-chair of that debate. He's got some great stories, so definitely pull him aside afterwards and he'll give you, now that we're actually not hosting this year, he can tell you the truth of what it was like to do that. But Greg is one of many employees, our longest standing employee, but one of many employees who's been there for a long time, and it's a special team that we've got there. You also just heard a moment ago that we were listed as one of the top 25 most innovative schools. This is a new list by U.S. News and World Report, one that you can't really vie for, one you can't try to be on, because it's actually impression data by other college presidents. But what do those guys know? So we were pretty thrilled to be put on that list. We were tied with University of California, Berkeley, Wake Forest University, NYU, and the only other small school on that list was Caltech. So we think that those guys are in pretty good company. Being on a list with Lynn University, we're thrilled to be included. One of the elements of Lynn that some folks don't know, but I want to share with you, is that we have a very long history of civic engagement, and it's really been embedded in our culture since our founding. So before I tell you a little bit about the Lynn of today and where we're headed, I want to fill you in on some elements of our history that are common threads that have run through. We were founded in 1962 by a group of very well-educated nuns. They came to Boca Raton, which is in a much smaller town than it is today, and they founded what was called then Marymount College. It was a 2-year women's Catholic school, the Marymount system. And these were intrepid nuns. They were free thinkers. They used to say that the nuns they were so liberal at Lynn University, or Marymount at the time, they dressed like women. They didn't wear the habit or anything like that. And I don't think they were that popular, frankly, with the establishment in town at the time. Even though they were Catholic, they were very universal in their outlook. In fact, Temple Beth El, the largest Jewish temple in Boca Raton, started at our Catholic University campus. So they had friends and were very big influencers in all sorts of different faiths. They also taught the children of migrant workers back there on campus. They marched downtown in sympathy of Selma in Boca Raton. And when they were there at the helm, these were classicists. They did very, very well for about 10 or 15 years, but then financial hardship fell upon the institution, and they were forced to close their doors and sell off all their assets. And that was the time when my father came to town, November 1st, actually, the date that we celebrate. His name's Dr. Donald Ross. I'm kind of a big fan of him. And he started something called Wilmington College in Delaware, which is now Wilmington University. And they have 19,000 students and a couple 100,000 alumni. He came down because he heard this little school in Boca Raton was going bankrupt. And they were selling everything, including the library books, which they desperately needed for the new fledgling school he had started there. So he came down, and he was driving onto campus, and he saw the students gathered right by the front of Military Trail, a couple, 20 or 30 of them, and they had these cups, and they said on the cups, "Please help save our college." He rolled down the window and asked them, "How much have you raised?" And they said $125, but they were $7 million in debt, which is a colossal amount then, as you can imagine it would be today. So he saw potential in Marymount, and he met with the nuns on November 1st, which is the day that we celebrate as our Founders Day. Some of the nuns have told us they thought that he was the second coming, and that's why they were so successful that day to restructure the debt and put a new program together. So out of the ashes of Marymount, a lot of those elements continue on. It was renamed the College of Boca Raton in 1974, and for an amazing 35 years with folks like Greg and others, my father was at the helm, and they developed and persevered and really grew this small institution. And then in 1991, we reached university status, and it was named in honor of longtime benefactors Eugene M. and Christine E. Lynn. Gene passed away in 1999, but Christine Lynn, which I know many of you know Christine, she's an amazing lady, is our strongest supporter. She's my boss, still serves as chair of our board of trustees, and is an amazing person in so many ways and has supported our region in deep, deep ways. So our university's mission really has remained the same since our beginning. It's to provide the education, support, and environment that enable individual students to realize their full potential and to prepare for success in the world. I have had the honor of being able to uphold that mission, and I really view it as a relay race in some ways. It's not about any one person, it's about a team, and we're going to run with that baton as far as we can, for as long as we can, and then hopefully hand it to other folks who believe the same thing. You heard a couple of the roles that I have had at the university over time, from Chief Operating Officer to the very clandestine Director of Special Projects. I'm not even really sure what I did when I had that job, but it was a lot of fun. And at Lynn, we focus on leadership as a team, having multiple champions. We believe in good to great in all of its elements. We have a cabinet, we have deans and directors, key people on campus, trustees as well, who believe in us, and we celebrate our accomplishments collectively as a Lynn community. We love to eat, so come on down. We gather and break bread all the time together, and everyone overcomes obstacles and issues together. You heard a moment ago about one of our darkest moments. In January 2010, when the devastating earthquake struck the island nation of Haiti, we had 12 students and 2 faculty members there, and they were on a mission trip entitled The Journey of Hope. They were there really to find and to help the poor of that nation. And we had been doing travel like this for some time. We were really blessed with the quick return of 8 of our students, but tragically we're now without 4 of our students and 2 of our faculty members. And one of the faculty members was the dean of our College of Education. The other one was a beloved faculty member. So during this time, we tried to do everything possible, and some things we thought impossible, to get them home safely. And we wanted to also bring the remains home of those who we lost for the families. We promised them we'd do that. So I can't stress enough the role that our crisis management team played in quickly and safely bringing home those 8 students. The entire group gathered with them in about 45 minutes of hearing the news, and we spent the next weeks, many, many weeks together, 24 hours a day, trying to do everything that was necessary. We immediately began going through the steps of our own communications plan, but there's not a tab for earthquake in a foreign nation. So you encounter these things and you have to become very flexible. So we quickly adapted and contacted the appropriate people, including all the families of those in Haiti. In fact, we brought those families to campus because we didn't want any lag time between when we were communicating with them. We received hundreds of letters and phone calls and offers of support from all over the globe. It was really amazing and remarkable, the outpouring of support that we were given. People offered us mercenaries. People offered us planes. And in fact, one of those donated planes is what brought back the students who survived. So, for instance, our chief information officer, the guy who does all the computers and networking on campus, Chris Bonaforte, immediately dispatched himself to the Dominican Republic on behalf of the university. We sent him there with $25,000 cash, and he said to me at the end of this, please never send me to the Dominican Republic with $25,000 cash again. That was horrifically frightening. He greeted every flight from Port-au-Prince for several days and checked local hospitals looking for our students. In fact, he was the first face that our students who survived the earthquake saw in Dominican Republic when they made it there before they came home. He also was there comforting family members who those we lost when they traveled down there because they wanted to be close as well. So Chris's story is just one example of many efforts made by our leadership team to respond to that crisis. We also kept in constant communication with the families as well as and kept our focus really on campus, our on-campus community. There were vigils held. We had a regular rhythm where we would go and spend time with our campus community, the families, but then also beyond, we made sure that we only picked 2 university spokespersons because we didn't want, and we set times to when we would go and talk to the press. And sometimes we had to walk out there and say, we don't have an update for you at this moment. But they learned to trust us in this time. We weren't trying to hide anything. We were all dealing with this crisis in as transparent a way as we possibly could. So it was a critical time for our university, and it was a long process. It's taken a long process. In fact, Greg and I even chatted today in the car ride up here. I'm not fully certain we've all dealt with that tragedy, even though it was 5 years ago. It's taken a long time for us to come to terms with exactly what happened, this unthinkable thing. And you never really heal fully through something like that. But it's critically important for us to remember that story and to tell that story and why they were there, what they were doing, not just get focused on the tragedy that occurred. So we constructed the Remembrance Plaza on our campus, which is a permanent memorial to the 6 that we lost in Haiti at the heart of our campus. And we promised those families that they did not die in vain, and that story would always be told. And we carry on their legacy still on campus through many activities. We also lost, we have a number of folks who have worked at our university for 25, 40 years who work in maintenance and housekeeping who are also Haitian. They lost 150 family members. So as part of that memorial, we made sure that we memorialized them as well. We all get together every January on that day, and we have something called the J-term, but that's a sort of experiential term for our students. But we embedded in there the Knights Unite Week of Caring, because we are the Fighting Knights at Lynn University. Our entire campus comes together now and goes out in the community and participates in service projects. So over the last 5 years, a lot of good has happened. And as I fumbled for my words in the kitchen of a rural Georgia home after a memorial for one of the students we lost. I was trying to comfort the mother, and she said, Kevin, good comes from bad. And she simply just hit that statement, and it's stuck with me. So the good that has come from that bad moment is our students have harvested more than 17,000 pounds of crops for local food banks. They've collected 60 boxes of supplies for local schools. They made more than 1,700 sandwiches for after-school programs. They've packaged almost 200,000 meals and sent them to Haiti, and so many other projects. And because it's not just a student thing or something we mandate, you'll be working packaging meals for Haiti with the dean, with a director, with someone from housekeeping, with a student from Georgia. We're all together, and I think it's an important thing that we do at Lynn, and it feels really great, and we make a big difference.